So the ban list is finally out, and all I have to say is Scarlet still at 3. So today, I've never done this profile. I run this deck, and I love this deck. So it's the first time on the channel, we're going to do a 3-engine deck, which is a mixture of Eldlich, Dogmatika, and Zoodiac. And as well as the profile, I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on playing this deck and how to maximize the capacity of this to take over your opponent. Because let's be honest, Scarlet's still at 3, Eldlich still top. So let's get into this. Let me show you a little bit different things with the 3 engines and how they coincide with one another and play very well.
House of Cards. TCG.
Alright guys, to get started, we're going to start with the Eldlich engine and what you should run with that. So for Eldlich engine, I run 2 of the Golden Lord. I don't think you obviously don't need to run 3. For any Eldlich players, I pretty much understand. You just want to get these to the grave as possible so that you can summon them out. So to go along with that, I play 2 Cursed Eldland. And Cursed Eldland is a nice card because when you activate it, you pay 8. Then you can add 1 Eldlich monster or Golden Land spell trap from your deck to your hand, which is really nice because that gets your Eldlich engine started. And then when this is sent to the grave, you get to send 1 Eldlich monster, 1 Golden Lord spell trap from the deck to the grave. So obviously the synergy with the graveyard is this deck and banishing. So that enables you to get your Eldlich engine started and to get rolling with that. To go along with that, now you cannot send these with Cursed Eldland because this is Scarlet. They're not Golden Land traps. These are your searchers for Eldlich. So what this does when you activate it is it summons Eldlich either from the deck or the graveyard. So you want to activate this as kind of a chain 2 to your other Eldlich traps. So the next one we have is 3 YUGIOH. YUGIOH, and what that does is a Golden Land trap. It can be searched off of Eldland. And what it's going to do is when you activate this as a chain 1, chain 2 into Scarlet, now this chain 2 Scarlet allows you to summon a Eldlich. When you have an Eldlich and you activate this trap, then you get to banish one from either opponent's graveyard. And I'll show you a play where I played around Ice Dragon's Prison to actually with this card and how well it works. So next up, we do run the 3 Conquistador. So Conquistador is the same as YUGIOH, as you have to have a Eldlich for it to activate. And also, both YUGIOH and Conquistador summon themselves. So what this one does, though, instead of banishing from either opponent's graveyard, this one will pop a card on the field. So that also comes in very clutch when you're playing these. Now, the effects that these 2 have is that on the end phase, you can banish these and then set a Scarlet in this deck because we don't play the elixirs. So you can banish Conquistador on end phase, set a Scarlet. YUGIOH banish on end phase, set a Scarlet. What Scarlet does, and this can be triggered at any time, it banishes itself and then, you guessed it, sets one of your 2 traps. So that's how you keep your Eldlich engine rolling. It keeps the pressure on the opponent. So now going into the Dogmatika package, I run 3 Ecclesia. So Ecclesia obviously is a card that you can special summon from your hand if an extra deck monster is on the field. And when it's summoned, either normal or special, it can search you either your fleur-de-lis or a Dogmatika punishment. Now keep in mind in playing this deck, when you activate her effect to search, you are locked out of the extra deck for that turn. So that can come up with your Zoo package. You want to make sure that you're playing that properly. Fleur-de-lis, we play 1 of that. So Fleur-de-lis is nice because it can, as long as you have Ecclesia on the field and the extra deck monsters there, you can special summon this from your hand, either your turn or opponent's turn. Your turn, obviously, if you're going for the finish, and on your opponent's turn, it negates the effects of 1 face-up monster. So that's kind of an interruption there. And then we play 3 Nadir's Servant. So Nadir's Servant has the same clause as Ecclesia, that you are locked out of the extra deck. But what's nice about this card is Nadir's Servant can actually search from either the deck or the graveyard. So if you need a Fleur-de-lis and it's in the grave, you can search it off of Nadir's Servant. So this searches you a Dogmatika card. Most of the time you're going to play this, you're going to send your Ash Dragon, and then you're going to go ahead and search Ecclesia effect to add Dogmatika punishment, which we do play 2 of. And then off Dogmatika in phase, Ash Dragon effect, which is going to search your Knight for follow-up. So those are really good synergy there. So we'll test this out a little bit and I'll show you some different plays that you can do with this. Now that's your Dogmatika package. So now going into your Zoo package, I play 3 Thoroughblade. Thoroughblade is your beater monster in the zoo package. It has 1600 attack. You overlay Borbo and can attack directly. I play 2 Whiptail. So Whiptail has a nice synergy where it actually, if it battles, if you have overlaid an Ixie monster and it battles, that it actually banishes the monster that you battle. And I'm going to show you a little combo where actually I can equip Thoroughblade Whiptail over my Borbo, giving it 2800 attack. And then we play the 1 Ram. This is your trap protection, and what Ram does is you can negate a trap if it is equipped. Now to search out your Zoodiac package, you want to play 3 Tinky, and Tinky is actually really nice when you have Eldland in hand too, because this is a continuous trap. So when you have Tinky on board and then you have Eldland in hand, you can actually send Tinky off of your Eldland after you've searched for a card. And then if we play the 1 Barrage, because Barrage is at 1, and Barrage is nice, also can pop Tinky, can pop anything, and then special summon. So Tinky adds a zoo to your hand, Barrage actually special summons it. This is your tech choices. You can mix these up. There is a total of 8 different slots here, because we're at 32 right now with those 3 packages. So the slots that I've chosen to run is I'll run 3 Ash, because Ash is just so good, and Ash can actually stop an opponent's turn if you play it right. So I do play 3 Ash. I like playing Ice Dragon's Prison in this build. So Ice Dragon's Prison, obviously you get to special summon and then banish. That can also help you with your extra deck plays, and I'll show you why. And also, I was playing invoked Dogmatika with this deck, and I used Ice Dragon's Prison to, actually I used Conquistador off Alistair. I couldn't stop Alistair from searching Invocation. So what I did was I actually popped Alistair, got it to the grave, or waited for the link, for them, because they'll go into their link package, which is the Almirage Secure Gardener. Then I Ice Dragon Prison, summon Alistair, and then waited. And if they don't have another Alistair in hand, guess what? You just stopped Invocation. So that's a way to get around an Invocation without actually stopping Invocation, especially if they have Magical Meltdown on the field, because you can't negate that. So, and then the other 2 I play is Book of Moon, because I think Book of Moon is just great in this deck. Again, Book of Moon is another way just to stop a turn. If you can flip Book of Moon on a Zoo, Zeus isn't coming out. So I like playing Book of Moon there. So that is the main deck. We're going to go into the side deck. We're going to start with the Dogmatika package. So I play 1 Ash Dragon. Ash Dragon's whole purpose is to be sent off of Nadir's Servant, and then that's going to either search you or special summon your Ecclesia or Fleur-de-Lis. So what Ash Dragon you can actually do is, if you have a chance, you can actually, on end phase, special summon Ecclesia effect, add Fleur-de-Lis, and that's how you can still get your engine if something gets stopped where you're not able to search your Ecclesia. I do play 2 Intis. Intis is for popping. You can send this off Punishment, you can send this off Nadir's Servant, and then its grave effect is that it gets to pop 1 card on the field. That can be a trap, that can be a face-up card, does not matter. And then for kind of just being in here, I play 5-Headed Dragon. The reason why I play 5-Headed Dragon is because Punishment's text says that you have to target a card and send one with equal or greater attack. So, for example, if they have their UTC Dino, which is Dino's going to be coming back, because guess what? Dino loves going second, and now they don't have to fear Drytron or Virtual World. So you're going to play 5-Headed Dragon. That's going to get you over some of your big boss monsters that you still need to pop off Punishment. For the Zoo package, which is pretty much the rest of the extra deck, we play 2 Chakanine, 2 Tiger Mortar, 2 Borbo, 1 Trident, 1 Hammer Kong, and 2 Zeus. So basically, this is self-explanatory. What you want to do is attack over with Borbo. Borbo then is going to let you overlay a bunch of material and then make Zeus for that. And then for the 15th spot, I do play the BLS, Soldier of Chaos, because you can use this card. It's 3 monsters with different names with your traps. You can do it with some different things. So BLS is just extra ways to get your traps into grave. It's a way to also, if you have different monsters and stuff that you want to get off, you can, having BLS is just another problem your opponent has to deal with. So instead of having to deal with, you know, your Eldlich or your back row or Zeus even, or any of that, like, you have BLS now. So that's a problem card that you can actually play very well in this deck. All right, guys, so I'm going to go into some tips on this and kind of show you some ways that I've played this deck that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and maybe show you some little tips that I usually like to see with this deck that might help you in playing this deck. All right, guys, so here we are going to get into some test hands and show you the synergy on how these three different engines actually work well together. So we're just gonna draw some cards and just see how that does, see how we're gonna disrupt our opponent. So we cut here, we draw 5. So already we're looking good. We got first 3 cards are all 3 engines, which is insane. Another Thoroughblade, another Ice Dragon's Prison. All right, so I want to show you a combo real quick. We're gonna do this. Let's say you did open Thoroughblade and Tinky, and it was your turn to go second, and you want to go for a Zeus. So I want to show you this combo. So let's say we activate Tinky. Tinky is then gonna search us our Whiptail. And why that's important, because if you want to maximize damage or if there's a problematic monster on the field, so what you can do is normal summon your Thoroughblade. Thoroughblade is then going to pitch Whiptail, and that's going to allow you to draw a card. You want to get Whiptail in there because I'm going to show you the combo that allows you to extend off. We drew another Whiptail. I can't tell you how many times I draw Whiptail off a pitching Whiptail. It's kind of crazy. So what you're going to do next is you're going to overlay Chakanine on Thoroughblade, and then you're going to overlay Tiger Mortar on Chakanine. You're going to activate Tiger Mortar's effect. You're going to send Chakanine to the grave and attach your Whiptail over Tiger Mortar. Why that's important? Because then you could go into Borbo, and not only with these 2 material, you're now attacking for 28 plus Tinky. That's 2,900 direct damage that you could take. But Whiptail's effect is if this card battles an opponent's monster, after damage calculation, banish that opponent's monster. So if there's a problematic card, that's one way to get over them and also maximize your damage. From here, obviously, you got 4 material, which you can go into Zeus. You can overlay Hammer, Kong, and Trident, make it a 6 material Zeus. So Zeus is really all you need. Be careful with Zeus, though, because it does send the field. That includes your traps. So that's just the one combo I wanted to show you off that. We'll put this back in the deck. We'll say we opened this again, which was our opening hand. So that is our Zoo combo, which actually maximizes damage and does some different things. And then if this was our opening hand, what I would probably do here is if you're not going, you do have Tinky, so you can activate Tinky. Tinky is then going to search you a Whiptail. I would probably just go ahead and normal summon Whiptail off this. When I normal summon Whiptail, you can just kind of go into some material here. So you can go Chakanine, Dryden, and then that gives you an interruption here. Now, because you have a monster from the extra deck, you're going to activate Ecclesia's effect. We're going to special summon itself. Ecclesia's effect is then going to activate. You can grab Knight or you can grab a Dogmatika Punishment. So you add Dogmatika Punishment to hand. And then, as you can see, we're going to follow up with a Thoroughblade for next turn that can make a Zeus. And then we're going to set 3. So now, why that's important here is on your opponent's turn, what you can do, you can go ahead and activate Conquistador. You can summon itself, that's going to get your engine started, or you can even leave it set, because if you get Curse Elven, you get an Eldlich like that, you can do that. But we're going to go ahead and normal summon it. Ice Dragon's Prison to banish, a Trident to pop, and then a Punishment to pop 2. And if you can, and if you're able to, you can send Ash Dragon off of your punishment if it meets the requirement. It says 2,500 attack, and if you don't need that second pop because you do have Trident, you have Ice Dragon's Prison, those different things. And then on end phase, that can either add you a Knight or that can add you another Ecclesia for follow-up. So on end phase, so we would basically be looking at being left with this on field. Let's say we use punishment, we'll use Ice Dragon's Prison. So keep in mind, punishment is going to lock you out of your extra deck for the next turn. And why that's important, because you have Thoroughblade, you can't go into your Zoo package, but you're already, looking really good here. So on your next turn, which probably would have popped another material under Dryden. It just makes sense if you're going to have Dryden out there with all those interruptions. Because if you had another material, I'm going to show you how that's going to come into play here. So for turn, we draw another Conquistador. So we're locked out of our extra deck. So what we can do is we can Dryden effect, pop Conquistador. On end phase, Conquistador is then going to search us a Scarlet, and we drew into a Conquistador. So we set that. We can special summon Ecclesia again. Ecclesia that can also search us again, another punishment. But let's say that we go into Knight this time. Considering that we do have plenty of pops on the board. One with Trident, one with Conquistador. So let's go for Knight this time, which he's hiding in my deck somewhere. There he is. All right, so we're gonna add Knight to hand off of Ecclesia. And then what we're gonna do here is obviously we can battle if we need to. We still have Trident here with a banish because it has Whiptail. And then we have Conquistador set. So in an interruption, because there's an extract monster and we have Ecclesia, so this negates the effects of a monster. So in phase, we're gonna banish Conquistador because we didn't activate it. And what Conquistador is then going to do is gonna set a Scarlet. So Scarlet is our trap that special summons Eldlich. And then if we chain that and Conquistador together, we'll be able to get a pop. So off of this turn, obviously we have Whiptail, which can banish, or we can Trident pop. We have Ecclesia here with a Fleur-de-Lis negate. Do keep in mind with this board though, you are pretty much running out of your positions here because Conquistador does summon with Scarlet, and Scarlet you have to summon an Eldlich out. So keep that in mind. So this is kind of the whole point of this engine. And let's just say your opponent did beat all your board up and really wrecked it. I mean, you still have Thoroughblade to go into Zeus, so that option is there. So that was pretty much what you're gonna see with this test hand, with this deck. Another combo that I've actually done, which I've already kind of told you what I did with Alistair and the Invoked engine. And it's really, this is a control deck, so you got to know your opponent matchups. But it was actually pretty interesting. One play that we did have, they used Ice Dragon's Prison on me. And I had Wakero set. I had other things on the board, obviously. But I had Eldlich summoned. And it was... Also, keep in mind that your second effect of Eldlich is you can summon this from the grave by sending one trap that you control, which can be your Wakero, it can be whatever, and that's gonna Wakero into the grave to get Scarlet, so you can also do that. But the Ice Dragon prisoned me, and I had Eldlich and I had Eldlich here. So obviously their play that they were going for was they were gonna summon Eldlich from my grave, banish both, which would completely ruin my Eldlich engine. So what I actually did was I chained Wakero to Ice Dragon's Prison, because Ice Dragon's Prison targets, so he targeted my Eldlich. So Eldlich, what Wakero does, because I had an Eldlich on the field, summons itself, and then it can banish from either graveyard. So I banished my Eldlich to protect this Eldlich to keep one in grave, because then Ice Dragon's Prison fizzled out. So that was just one combo that I've done. You know, as you play this deck, you're going to get better with it and playing all the different engines. So that's pretty much it. And then you'll use BLS a lot too. Just keep in mind the punishment and your servant locks you out. But it's just another monster that you can really use. So you guys have any questions, updates, things like that? This is post banlist. Scarlet still at 3. This 40 card deck with 3 different engines, and I love playing this deck. It's very control style, and it really upsets your opponent when you're playing them. So this has been Tyler, House of Cards TCG, signing out.
House of Cards.